if you stake this, we're going to pay you 4% or 8% or 12%. And they can't even afford to do that because, if you inflate too much, there's not enough intrinsic demand to cover that inflation, and your token price is going to drop, and that makes your investors mad. That makes your speculators. Point of reference, we started a company in 1994 called AudioNet, which was the first streaming company, first commercial streaming company, let's say. And then in 2000, so we looked at new applications for using the internet, right? That was when the internet was just getting started. And then in 2000, I started the first all high definition TV network. And so I'm always looking for new ways to use technology in new ways. And so when crypto started to happen, I'd always paid attention and wasn't as excited about it as a currency, but saw unique applications. And what really got me grooving on it was in 2020, when I started just trying to get updated on NFTs and started to really dig in and, more importantly, understand what smart contracts are about. Because the beauty of NFTs wasn't the NFT itself, it was the fact that it was an application using smart contracts, and what else could smart contracts be used for? And then you start digging into the decentralization side of it, and I'm not one of these guys, it's all about decentralization for the trilemma and all that kind of stuff. I saw it more as a way to create new ways of doing business. And so that's really what I look for, because when you find new ways of doing business, you find ways to disrupt existing businesses.
Basically eliminate the middleman with smart contracts.
Well, it's not even just about eliminating the middleman. It's just, what can you do that's different, that disrupts an industry that's always been doing it the same way? That's what I look for in everything and anything. It's not, yes, it does concern me, but it doesn't diminish my bullishness on crypto. If you go back over the last few years, let's just go back 2020, we saw the DeFi summer, and that brought a lot of new people in, and it created a lot of applications that, particularly for Ethereum and some L2s, that really got people involved and brought people to the table for Ethereum in particular. And those applications make total sense. You go on Aave and you put some money in, you deposit, you borrow, it takes 30 seconds. You need to pull out some USDC to go pay a credit card bill. Now you can do that, right? So DeFi went from being something new that brought a lot of people in. People were using their stimulus checks. Rates were really high back then. You could yield farm, and it was crazy as everybody was figuring it out. You had a lot of investor money coming in subsidizing yields, and so you really had you had this groundswell of people coming to crypto, and that was great. It was a unique application that really put people to work. Then you saw the same thing with NFTs. People started collecting them, whether it was on Flow with Top Shot, or it was on Ethereum with punks, or whatever, Bored Apes, whatever it may be, and everything and anything was being created, and everything sold at the beginning, right? But, and that brought in a ton of people, still brought in a ton of people. So you had NFTs as a cool application that led to utilization. Because the thing about crypto that I think people sometimes fail to realize is you need users in order for people to buy and use the Ethereum or whatever it may be, right, to generate gas fees. Because if gas fees aren't being generated, or application fees aren't being generated, there's no real business there. And at the end of the day, it's still a real business that has to sustain itself. And so that got me in again. But then, as the speculation started to dry up and prices dropped, you saw the people who were just in it for the speculation leave. And when they left, we've seen prices drop significantly, and they've popped up some recently. Who knows if that's just a bear market rebound and it's just temporary? I don't know. You can only guess. But what concerns me is the fact that there's not the next application, right? We went from DeFi to collectibles. Now what? And rather than seeing true innovation, you're seeing replication, where, okay, I'm moving DeFi to this blockchain or that blockchain. Oh, I'm trying to find value on the edges. I'm going to create an AI-based application that looks for the best yields across all the different DeFi platforms, and I'm going to automate that for people. It's not something that is groundbreaking. It's just an improvement on what's already being done, and that's not going to be enough to bring people back to crypto. So, it really is going to take that next big thing to really drive utilization. That's my concern. I've said this before. We saw the same thing with the internet. Streaming, bam, it's fun. New websites, bam, it's fun. Amazon, you're buying, bam, it's fun. And then, everything kind of cratered in 2000 and 2001, and there were no BAMs for a long time. There wasn't shit happening for a few years. And then, in 2004, you saw Facebook and social networks hit, and then you saw app stores hit, when in 2007, when the iPhone came out. So we're looking for that App Store iPhone, platforming moment where there's new applications that bring in a lot of non-traditional crypto users, because the thing that's going to drive crypto above and beyond just the cryptoites is something where you just have to use it. You just need to use it. Like, I'll use the App Store again as an example, whether it's, Play Store on Android or iOS App Store. Someone posted something on Twitter that was great. One of the top 10 applications was just an app that made it look like you're drinking a beer, or you had Angry Birds. That wasn't enough to make you go buy an iPhone. But as people started buying iPhones and the foundation was there, it became an ecosystem where it made sense for people to invest a lot of money in apps. And what happened? Everybody created an app, right? There were zillions of them, right? And 99.99% of them failed. But there were the few of them, the Instagrams, the Snapchats, etc., where it said, okay, this is why I need a smartphone. I need that camera. I need to be able to use this app. Crypto has not had that moment yet where it's your grandma, your little brother, your little sister, all have to use it for different reasons maybe, but they need to use crypto because that's how they get access to the applications that they really want to have and want to use every single day. It just comes down to applications. If you guys got great ideas, I'm wide open, right? I'm tired of the bullshit pitches I'm getting, like new DeFi for new, there's a great analogy between what happened in Silicon Valley with SaaS software and other applications, even like Uber, right? Where tons of money came in and subsidized all these apps. Uber is just now starting to make money 15 years, whatever it is, 12 years later. There's other apps that same thing. And so what happened with apps, like I was an investor in Box, and I actually wanted them to just generate revenue as opposed to raise money to subsidize free online storage. And so they went their way, they bought me out, and it took them, I don't even know how many years for them to make money. I'm never a big fan of raising hundreds of millions of dollars to do tens of millions in business, but that's exactly what happened in crypto. But crypto was distorted because people looked at the token valuations. And so what would happen is they'd go out and do a token sale and generate a bunch of capital, or even worse, they'd raise hundreds of millions of dollars from VCs and use that money to create a fake yield, right? We saw that with Anchor, right? Where it was like, okay, we're offering you 20%. And then they hoped that they'd be able to generate enough loans to cover the 20%. Never came close. All that yield was subsidized. All those 5, 7, 8, 10, 20, 50, 90, 100% yields have always been subsidized by investors. Now with those investors not willing to subsidize anymore, you're not seeing the crazy yields. And you're not even seeing the inflationary yields from the blockchains anymore. Where you would say, okay, if you stake this, we're going to pay you 4% or 8% or 12%. And they can't even afford to do that because, if you inflate too much, there's not enough intrinsic demand to cover that inflation, and your token price is going to drop, and that makes your investors mad, that makes your speculators mad, and it ignores the fact that to be a real business, you have to be a real business, and crypto doesn't change any of that.